But I feel though, as I've gone on carnivore for this long, it's gotten easier for me to do things in moderation from time to time. For example, Halloween was the first time I took the boys trick-or-treating because they're so little.
Hey guys, thank you so much for supporting us and watching our videos. If you'd like to support us some more and get some of our merchandise like this awesome apron, be sure to check out our website at thecarnivorerevolution.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the Carnivore Revolution. I'm Serena, and today my special guest is Jenny Middich, and Jenny is a friend that I met online. She has her own YouTube channel and Instagram page where she shares all kinds of information about being a carnivore and health benefits and things like that. So Jenny, thank you so much for visiting with us today.
Hey, thanks for the invite. I'm super excited about it.
I am too. I've been following you for a while on YouTube. I think your channel is great. I think your videos just have such great advice. So let's share some of that with the world here today. And let's start with your story. How did you end up where you are?
Oh man. So I was vehemently opposed to doing carnivore in the beginning. My husband has lost 130 pounds on keto over the past few years. So he really wanted to take the next step and do carnivore. But I was like, that's crazy. Unhealthy. How can you just eat meat? How are you going to get all your vitamins and minerals? So on and so forth. I was trying to lose weight because of a twin pregnancy. My twins, Max and Harry, I gained 70 pounds when I was pregnant with them. It was a difficult pregnancy for me, for sure. And I had lost about 22 pounds over 11 months using the Noom program, the psychology-based app. It's like high carbs, medium protein, low fat. And, I was eating fruits, vegetables, low fat meat, a little bit of grain. I'd cut gluten out a long time ago. And the only ultra processed food I was eating was Carb Smart ice cream and Hershey's chocolate syrup, the sugar-free one. Okay. So I was eating a clean diet, but the weight was coming off so slow. And I had been stuck in the mid 190s for about 3 months, from October to December 2022. I was very frustrated. So my husband had been badgering me that whole time, like, hey, let's do carnivore. I'm like, meh. And then finally I was like, okay, screw it. I'm just going to try it. What do I have to lose? So I committed to 30 days, just 30 days. Mm-hmm. I watched a ton of, he had found Dr. Ken Berry. So we'd just binged a ton of his videos. I read Nina Schultz, The Big Fat Surprise, excellent book. So I was like gung ho and ready. I actually started carnivore 2 weeks before him.
Oh,
I know. Because we have twins, and they're very young. They were 1 at that point. And I didn't want us to both have keto flu at the same time. So I was like, I'll start and then you start 2 weeks later. And maybe that'll mitigate some of the potential keto flu. But yeah, that first month on carnivore, I ended up losing 8 pounds, which is the most I've ever lost on any way of eating, any diet. So I was like, all right, there's something to this. So then I committed to another 30 days and another, and now I just passed my 1 year mark. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting journey, to say the least.
Yeah. And so how much have you lost so far altogether?
So far, as of today, 38 pounds.
Awesome. So you didn't have any medical things you were trying to solve. It was mostly about the weight for you.
Yeah. On paper, metabolically healthy. I'd gotten a fasting glucose in May of that year. It was like 100. So that was like borderline. My doctor wasn't concerned, as most doctors really aren't, didn't do an A1C. I did a DEXA scan in September. So I knew I had some visceral fat, and I had been tracking my blood glucose with a continuous glucose monitor since September 2022. And I'd seen all those spikes. So that was kind of a big thing for me. Like, oh, I wonder what carnivore is going to do for my glucose levels. Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. But no, in general, metabolically healthy on paper, just the weight loss. I was trying to get, because when I got pregnant, I was 173. I was a little overweight already, and I wanted to get down below that. So that's kind of been the goal.
And so have you been really strict? Like, do you ever go off and eat vegetables or take the day off of your diet or have, a cheat day, as people call it?
Yeah. So in the beginning, no. The second month I had some barbecue sauce, and I did dairy. I didn't do dairy the first month, and I noticed that my weight loss was much slower. Mm-hmm. I only lost 2 months the second 2 pounds the second month. So the third month I really tightened it up again, and I lost 5.5 pounds. So when I'm very strict, which is most of the time, the weight comes off slow and steady. I did do keto cheat meals once a month. through the summer because we really do love vegetables, Brussels sprouts, asparagus. We do like a salad. I grow some stuff in my garden. So we would do that in addition to the meat, but that was a once a month thing. But since Thanksgiving of this year, I have not done any kind of vegetables or anything. I'm kind of running an experiment to see where, like, how long can I go without eating vegetables. So,
And
yeah,
so for you, are you able to take a day off? Like, are you a moderator or an abstainer? Can you just take one day off and then hop right back on? Or and some people don't know the difference. So let's
yeah,
just do that real quick. So,
for sure.
an abstainer, for people who don't know, is somebody who has to abstain from everything altogether, kind of like an alcoholic has to abstain from alcohol, or a drug
Right.
addict has to abstain from drugs. You can't just, use it once at a party and,
Yeah,
or have some alcohol at a party and then just move on. It's like that for many of us that are abstainers. Like, I've never eaten just one fill in the
for
blank,
sure.
or,
Yeah,
Oreo cupcake, whatever. And so many people also can't do that. But a moderator is somebody who can have just one Oreo cookie or can have one cupcake at a birthday party and just be fine. And I've never been able to do that. So, are you an
yeah.
abstainer or a moderator?
I think in practice, 99% of the time, I'm an abstainer for sure.
Okay.
But I feel though, as I've gone on carnivore for this long, it's gotten easier for me to do things in moderation from time to time.
Okay.
So, like, for example, Halloween was the first time I took the boys trick or treating because they're so little. I had a bag of peanut M&Ms on that night, and it was not hard for me to stop. I had all that Halloween candy in my house that whole time. Didn't want any of it because the way that I combat that is I think about the way it's going to make me feel. And anytime I eat something that's really high sugar, I feel that sugar
Yeah.
spike, and then you're so wiped out and lethargic. And I I try to connect that experience with the food itself. I had eaten a lot of protein before I had that bag of peanut M&Ms, so it didn't spike like that. I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I needed more, and that was the end of it. But I don't really crave anything like that anymore. I feel like I'm far enough removed from eating sugar daily that now I don't even really want it. I feel so good on carnivore. It's like, why do I want to mess that up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 So
That's
I think,
awesome.
yeah, mostly abstainer though, for
Yeah.
sure with most things, but I think that's gotten a little bit better.
You mentioned earlier that when you started the carnivore diet, you started a week before your husband, so that if you guys got the keto flu, you would have it at
Yeah.
different times. Did you have a difficult transition? Did you have any of those issues arise?
100%. Yeah. So I had 4 to 6 weeks of keto flu. And for me, it was mostly fatigue, like
Okay.
extreme fatigue, very worn out, a bit of diarrhea, no constipation, but just that I was so wiped out. I did electrolytes. That helps. That took the edge off. I always recommend to make sure you're like right in the morning, get it over with, even if you're not feeling crappy, because that can help to mitigate some of those symptoms. And then probably like 3 weeks in, I had a bit of sleep disturbances. So I could fall asleep, but I couldn't stay asleep for a couple of days. And then I had 2 bouts of restless leg. That was interesting. But then by the 6 week mark, all of that had cleared up and I was feeling really good. I think I got bad keto flu because I was eating a lot of carbs before. And granted, they were healthy fruits and
Mhm.
vegetables for the most part, but I mean, I was probably at 150, 200 grams a day. So yeah, ramping that down, not so good. My husband, he was fine. He'd been doing keto for a long time, so he was
Mhm.
already kind of fat adapted. So I think he had a much easier time than I did. It was not fun.
So what about the twins? How do they eat?
So the twins, they eat meat at every meal.
Mhm.
They also eat some fruits and vegetables. And then when they're over at their grandparents' house, they'll have like some bread. My husband is Serbian American. His
Okay.
parents immigrated here
Okay.
a long time ago, but bread is a big part of the culture. So they have a little bit of bread over there, but we don't eat it. So that's not often. They drink milk, whole milk, and water. Our nanny will make a smoothie for them out of fruit and milk once in a blue moon. But yeah, for the most part, it's meat at every single meal, and then a little bit of fruit, a little bit of veggie. Harry is my meat eater. He would be full carnivore if I let him. He loves the meat.
That's awesome.
Max, he loves strawberries. He's a fruit boy. He loves his fruit, but
Yeah.
he eats his meat too. So yeah, it's been we started carnivore when they were so young.
Yeah.
So that's all they've really known. is what we have in the house. And I think that's beneficial for me. I don't know how it would go if I had started this with kids that were older and had to switch everybody over. So I'm really happy I did it when they were young.
Well, I can tell you from experience that does not work out so well. I have 4 older kids. 2 of them are still under 18. One of them is married and doesn't live with us anymore, obviously. And the other one is 21, still lives with us. And then we have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. And
Yeah.
it's been rough. To them, this is just another fad. This is, they're burned out on all of my stuff over the years. So why is this different than everything else, Mom?
Oh
Why
yeah,
is
but you've
this
been
the
doing
thing?
this a while now,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
More than
they
two and a
should
half
know,
years.
not a
Yeah.
fad.
Yeah, it's definitely not a fad. Okay. So did you experience any backlash from like your friends and family when you made the switch? Did anybody say anything to you or like, you can't eat just meat? Blah, you're gonna die of a heart attack?
No, not really. I am kind of a weirdo and I'm always like researching things and
Yeah.
I'm very, very, in depth. And everyone was used to my husband eating keto. So it really
Mm,
wasn't a thing. Sometimes we run into difficulties at like holidays, not with my side of the family, sometimes with my husband's side of the family. My mother-in-law is an amazing, she was a chef. She makes these amazing pizzas. They're like this bread dish and just all these things with beans and bread and carbs and things. And she's gotten used to it now where we're like, oh, we're not eating that. But no one was really like, oh, you're gonna die, which is good because I knew
that's
I
awesome.
wasn't already. But
Yeah. So what does a typical day of eating look like for you now?
oh gosh, I'm so boring. So boring. So typically I'll wake up, I'll have like 2 or 3 hard-boiled eggs, and maybe I either do bacon or sausage every day for the boys. So I'll just have some of that. That I typically we're eating around 8:30 to 9 a.m. So that's my first meal of the day. I do eat breakfast most days.
Mhm.
And then I don't eat again until like my favorite time to eat is like 3:30 in the afternoon for my final meal. I find that eating earlier in the day and I get the digestion done and then I'm moving to bedtime and all the food's
Yes.
already
Mm,
ready, out. I just sleep so much better and I'm able to get a 16 to 18-hour fast in daily. So I eat that last meal around 3:30 and that would be like I don't know, a 16-ounce ribeye or a couple of pork chops. We do a lot of grilled meat. The
mhm.
air fryer, oh my gosh, we cook in the air fryer. It works so good. So yeah, grilled meats, eggs, butter. I'm really, really boring. I've been trying to do more seafood because I really love seafood. We've been doing oysters on Fridays because Whole Foods has dollar oysters in our area
Oh,
on
nice.
Fridays. We've been learning how to shuck oysters and stuff. But yeah, that's basically it.
That's fun. So earlier on, when we first started this, you mentioned that you read Nina Teicholz's book. That's one of my favorite books, The Big
Oh
Fat
my
Surprise. Can't
God.
recommend it enough. Yeah, I've read it 5 times. My
Oh, so
absolute
good.
favorite. Sally Norton's book
Yeah.
is very good about oxalates. So, what are some other book recommendations that you would have?
Oh my gosh, I have a whole bookshelf here. I also really like. There's a bit of overlap with Nina's. Her book is referenced in the Great Plant Based Con.
Yes.
That book is so good, and I like that one because it talks about all of the Ansel Keys stuff and the history as to why saturated fat has been demonized for the past 60 years. But then it goes into the Seventh Day Adventists and the reasons there, corporate ties, and how they're now using the environment as their big like why you should go vegan, and it's so well researched, man. There's like 1,000 sources in there. You could just dive into her sources and find
Mhm.
so many good things to
Yes.
read. Love that book. The other one I've been reading is a little bit more sciencey. I have it right here.
Okay.
This one is The Fat and Cholesterol Don't Cause Heart Attacks, and
Oh,
statins
nice.
are not the solution. This one is written by a group called THINKS, the International Network of Cholesterol Skeptics. Malcolm Kendrick is in here. So many, it's like little articles that go into different reasons as to what they think causes heart disease because everyone's like, oh, LDL cholesterol causes heart
Yeah.
disease, but there's not a lot of consensus on that,
Mm,
and the data's not that good.
yeah.
So this is going into some alternative theories as to why stress, lactic acid, just so many other things. So I really like that one because it's a little bit higher level and article based. But I just love reading. So
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I do a lot of audiobooks while I'm walking or cleaning the house or things like that. I just almost always have an earbud in of some sort, listening to some sort of health and nutrition book. I
yeah,
really enjoy that too.
for
So, if you
sure.
had one piece of advice for somebody who's thinking about getting started in like a really strict clean keto or a carnivore way of eating, what would that be?
I think I just did a video where I talk about prepping for carnivore. I think setting yourself up for success, cleaning out all the non-carnivore, non-keto stuff from your kitchen so that it's not there to tempt you. Go grocery shopping before you start. Make sure you have what you need on hand. Do a bit of meal prep so you have food available, and then just commit to 30 days. I think once you make that decision in your head, a lot of this is a mental game. I think when you make that decision, okay, I'm going to do it for 30 days and just go gung ho, nothing will stop you, and you might be surprised at how much weight you can lose and how much better you can feel. I think that's the even more important thing here is like just joint pain going away or not so inflamed, your clothes fitting a bit looser. It's not all about the weight loss. And I think a lot of people are in pain and suffering out there, and carnivore is a real solution. That's what I've found. Nothing else really worked well for me consistently. You could do something for a little bit and it would work. But with carnivore, it's just so simple and easy when you get down to it. So just commit to that first 30 days, stay super strict, meat, seafood, eggs and butter is what I recommend. If you want to do a little dairy, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it's amazing, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, really just a no-brainer. Once you get started and get past those first couple of weeks, you'll
Right.
see how worth it is to just stick with it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, really amazing. Well, Jenny, this was great, and I'm so glad that you have found success.
Yeah, thank you. I love your channel. You were one of the first people that I started following when I did carnivore. So when you
Thank you.
contacted me, I was like, what? I told my husband, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited.
Well, this was super fun. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks, Jenny, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on the Carnivore Revolution.